I would like to call upon Ashok Tatipalli Garu onto the stage. Thank you. Now I would like to call upon Ravi Venkatraman Garu onto the stage, please. Thank you. Now I would like to call upon Lekha ma'am onto the stage, please. Thank you. So let's make this panel discussion a little meaningful, but I will actually make it very short. When we actually started this initiative, we met a couple of the personalities. One of them was Lekha ma'am. You are so motivated. The first word that we could hear from her was the need of the day. Go ahead. And she's been very motivating for her. Thank you so much, ma'am. So with that, I just wanted to understand. We heard the HR team, the recruiter team just now saying that we have a lot of problems. We go through a lot of pressure. It's very tough to get a talent, the right talent onto the board. So having the impact that we are seeing right now, be it moonlighting, absconding, too many offers, there's no ethics. So what do you think the impact could be for the nation and for the IT sector? I would ask that question to Ashok first, then we'll go with Lekha ma'am.
Like you said, we are a 23-year-old company, and when I started this, we wanted to be in India, we wanted to work out of India, right? Now, since you said nation, and I don't want to repeat all the problems that we are facing now. I echo everybody's concerns. I totally agree what the companies are suffering. And also, I equally agree, Raju, comment on that. The company also has a major contribution for these problems, right? But when you said nation, now we have actually started our center in Vietnam. Because we have trouble hiring people in India. So that's the big loss to the nation. So we really don't know how many countries we go, if the problem persists and continue.
Thank you. So what would you say, ma'am, Lekha ma'am?
Completely, I echo everything. Again, like he said, the problems are real, but I think we've got to stop looking at the short-term win. We've always had a demographic dividend as far as the strength of IT, the pool is concerned. However, we are definitely losing the economic strength. The sustainability of our organizations, of our country is going to be impacted. I know I am considered to be a dinosaur in the field, but there are people here in this room who should also be as concerned about what is going to happen to their future 5 years from now. Are they going to be able to have the same kind of jobs? Please understand, every time they come in and they ask for a higher salary, every time they come in and negotiate, like somebody said, and I like that word, auctioning with offers in hand. I think it's a very real problem that we have, which is going to, and I think Ravi will hold on to that. I think we forget that it's not just the IT industry. Right? Today, if you saw yesterday's newspaper, they said that more IT professionals are being hired by other industries in India. So if this same habit is going to continue, forget about the global world. We are going to actually have small retailers, we're going to have businesses, we're going to have manufacturing industries, all of them finally hiring people from outside to solve their problems while we have the talent internally. So it's going to become a problem which is going to impact almost every other industry. The rate card is not going to change. My employee spend is going to increase. Because of this. Where are we finally going to be getting our business sustainability from? And I do understand from the business perspective that you do need to have your project delivered and you want to do it right on time. But, as somebody else had stated earlier, I think it's very important to also look at how is that bonding happening inside the company. Because the bonding doesn't happen, the person is leaving. The time between the person has switched off in his mind to actually put down his resignation is about 2-3 months. Yes. After that, it is about 2-3 months before the organization accepts that. But they have not even started the process of hiring. When they finally go, this person has about 15 days to 1 month to actually leave the organization. What is that business going to do? Remember, he's already switched off. So there's no productivity for the last 4-5 months anyway. right? And then the process of hiring is going to take another 90 days. You hire the person for 90 days. That person has a notice period of another 90 days to onboard the person and get him to the same level of delivery. Is going to be another 3 months minimum. So which means you've lost 1 year from the time the person has switched off. And you're not sure that this person to whom you're paying 2x and 3x is actually going to deliver at that same x. So it's a huge problem.
No, yesterday I was talking to a potential customer. No, I showcased what the services that we offer and what all we did, and But he said, "Can you send me your bench strength?" He says, "No, I agree that you can all do that, right? But when I actually give you the contract, you say, I need 3 months, I need to onboard the guy. We spend all the time to interview the person, and you say, no, this guy." So now the customers are actually asking, "No, I want to see the real." I mean, they actually want to see the people before even they want to start the negotiation.
Correct. They literally want to see the bench, and they also wanted to check if they are really your employees or you're actually giving the wrong names.
My bench is very small. How can I afford like big benches? Huh?
Talk about bench. There's another problem that happens is that the persons on the bench don't like to be on the bench, right?
Yes.
Because they have to have their resumes
Correct.
continuously updated.
Correct. Yeah.
So we are in a conundrum.
Yeah.
So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We do understand that we are the three who's standing between you and the lunch. So, I feel that you can bear with us for a few more minutes. I think
Yes.
probably I will have a different setup for conundrum too.
Yep.
The amount of flux.
You can use the mic, guys. Yeah.
I think my voice is good.
Yeah.
The amount of flux which people talking about moonlighting, people talking about multiple jobs, multiple avenues of earning is happening where? We need to understand that a little critically. In one end, we generate about engineers every year in this country. 3% of those engineers are hired by whom? Name the top 5 multinational companies. 33 to 34% of rest of the engineers are hired by top tier companies in the country. Where the balance goes? An average of 21% of people in this country, they do not get an employment. Engineers are working as Swiggy delivery boys. I've seen it with my own eyes. So there is a parity which is not emerging very clearly. The quality of engineer from Delhi or from Hyderabad or from Chennai, for that matter, from Jumritalaya, they're all IT engineers, computer science. Put them under one room, you will understand the variance of technological skill, which is
Correct.
a real challenge.
It does.
Let's understand that. Second thing which I really wanted to point out to this forum is, COVID has taught us something which we never thought we will learn in our life. How many of you in Hyderabad are staying in high-rise buildings? Please raise the hands. During COVID, have you seen the tenancy rate come down drastically? 95%? Bombay was deserted. I'm from Bombay. What deserted? Those who migrated to urban cities for the want of job. During COVID, they disappeared. Did they lose a job?
No?
No, they did not. What taught them? They can work from home. They can be son of the soil. They can be closer to the parents. They have nil expenses towards staying, housing, expenses, commuting to office, etc., etc. Fine. I got my first luxury. I sat comfortable. Now what next? Now 40 hours a week, I'm logging in, logging out. 9 o'clock in the morning, I log into my laptop. 5:30 in the evening, I log off. That's the only metrics HR measures whether you are online or not online. You're working or not working. What else I can do? And that's when companies, specifically, I want to throw another strategy. In the year 20 to 2023, in the past 3 years, we are closer to 1,100 startups in this country. 1,100 startups, which I mark my words very carefully, which required 470,000 resources to complete a task, not employees. 470,000 resources means skills to complete certain level of tasks, including development, rolling out platform like you guys did with 115 people. Not every startup hired people. And these are the guys who went and flooded the market in terms of asking for people to come and serve me. Hey, kar de yaar.
Do
Right?
it in your own time.
Yeah. Do it in one time. One referred another, another referred another. I'll give another statistic, which I think all of us need to understand. This country is poised to employ 304 million tech guys in the next decade. 304 million. It's a whopping number. But do you also understand another statistics? Only 27 million of them will be deployable, employable. The country is going towards lack of skills, please understand.
Yes.
Those who are getting hired, those who are getting multiple offers, those who are working too many jobs are called SMEs,
Yes.
subject matter experts. Those who are not getting such opportunity are part of a team called Monday. I think the lady spoke about the GPT, right? Chat GPT. Let me tell you, about 107,000 different type of jobs are already done away in many corporates in this country. Right? How many of you heard the terminology called accountant in your enterprise?
Yeah, yeah.
How many of you heard about admin head in any organization anymore? Many enterprises are done away with that. So they are moving towards the core to the business. SMEs are on high demand. And SMEs are absolutely inevitable for success of business. So therefore, as you rightly mentioned, there's a pressure for businesses to hire people. That the first and foremost thing is, our business are ethical. They need to come to your platform.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I am as a business head of Karvi InnoTech Limited, if I decide to be ethical and I don't want to engage somebody on a gig, India will become the biggest market for gig. By the year 2030, please hold your breath, $430 billion as a gig worker will emerge from this country. It will be 1.7 times bigger than US. US currently employing 57 million plus people on gig. India's official statistics says only 3 million people, but it's not true. It's not true.
Yep.
Almost this 1.3 million IT workforce, they are all gig economy on the sites. So there need to be recognition. And one of the suggestions which I really want to put forward to you, instead of making
Yep.
the enterprise as your subscriber, ensure those who are applying for the job, if they really want that integrity metrics to go to the top,
Yep.
they should be registered with you.
Yes. So,
That's where the game begins.
yes.
If I'm enrolled into you, then my credibility already gets a green tick. Right? I'm coming to you for the job. I don't have any other offer. And you are the first employer. And if I have a disagreement, I can always exit.
Yeah.
The point is, the doubling, tripling, gig worker, and I was really surprised when somebody quoted 32 PF accounts in an individual name
Yes.
and 7 in an individual name. And I wonder, what does our UAN does in the back end? Which is connected to your PAN, connected to your Aadhaar,
32
and how can I
jobs,
have,
7 PF account.
how is it possible? I mean, humanly,
he
it's
got
eye-opener
32
for
jobs.
me.
Yeah.
He's got 32 people.
32, it's
32
like
jobs he's
unimaginable.
having. Doesn't matter about the PF accounts. He's also subletting his job.
Yeah. So to Ravi, the same question. So having that exponential growth opportunities in the IT sector, now we've seen a very bad phase at this point of a time. Small companies like us or the medium companies like the ours, we are literally troubling. So what do you think is very important that we should take care at this point of a time?
Again, I'm sorry, I'm stopping you guys from having lunch. I'm going to take a little longer than 2 minutes.
Yes, go
like
ahead.
this.
Yes, yes.
When you really look at hiring people, right? The trouble we face is only when we do a lateral hiring. I mean, all of you will agree.
Yeah, yeah.
Lateral hiring is because you're putting the business under pressure. And business wants to recruit today. I want somebody like yesterday.
Just-
Like yesterday. Right? And the problem will continue to be the same when you consider, I need an experience to come on board. She said 1 year. You hire a lateral hire. He's extremely good in appearing 50 interviews. When you are the 51st, is too smart to answer all your questions. Like
Yeah.
you're bold. It's like absolutely clean bold. He comes on board, you take 3 months time to understand what he committed during the interview process, what he said he can deliver, whether he can deliver or not. I run a problem.
Okay.
You understand where I'm coming
Yep,
from?
yep.
Until and unless enterprises don't start looking within of
Yep.
setting up a process of building skills,
Correct.
that's the only way forward for you not to fall prey for such
So
instances.
from your response, what I understand is skill people first. And this actually solves the minimum of the problem.
I think my friend over there will agree. In good old days, we used to have something called job rotation.
Yeah.
I'm asking you, sir.
Krishna.
Raju, we used to have a job rotation.
Yeah.
Why job rotation in large enterprises? That I am willing to move from one role to another role to grow, keep on growing.
Yeah.
And we stopped doing it all of a sudden. We now talk about skill rotation. That means you are a Java guy for 3 years and I can't give you the next level to you because you are Java. You're killed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you are an infra managed services guy, good enough to manage only the data center of your organization, you're killed there. So we are not willing to do the skill rotation. That's where you need to open the door internally and allow people to learn. And there are a lot of multiple ways of ensuring that
Sure,
your employee
sure.
interest.
Thank you. Thanks for that, detailed input. So my next question would be for Lekha Garu. Do you really see a system, a mechanism in India that actually can help us to what Ravi Garu is projecting, that it is going to be a huge potential in another like 10, 15 years from now? Do you think any organization or any controlling system that we have to nullify the problems that we are having at this point of time, be it skilling, be it unethical issues, or be it everything that will help us to get to that level over a period of 10 or 15 years from now?
So I'd like to respond first to 2 points that he had stated. One is about the gig workers, and I do understand that it is going to be, we are in that stage of gig economy. But I think the people who are conducting these gigs should understand that I, as a employer, when I hire you full-time, and you're going ahead and doing 2-3 gigs, I am lifting the cost of the entire employee, whether it is insurance, PF, your, even the liability that I have, your desk cost, everything I'm lifting. I am giving you 8 hours off or 16 hours off to be able to go ahead and recuperate and come back. You go ahead and have a gig on the rest of the time. Why should I pay you, or why should I be the person who's going to be taking that cost toll? Please go ahead and become a gig worker for me too. And the other point, I think, which is a very valid point, is that HR looks generally at only the time at desk. Not correct. I think what we need to do, and what is happening in most places, is we need to look more at the deliverables of people, right? So those are the 2 points. Yeah, because that is finally the work that you want done, right? And then you try and estimate what is the time. So it's got to be a work, money, time, effort.
Yeah.
The point that you raised about what is actually happening, and I think that was also brought in by Lakshman, we have today resources which are telling us who are the people who are on notice period. Very clearly, people who are on notice period, 15 days, 10 days, 1 month, the recruiters get that data. Do they stay away from the data? No. That becomes their database because they want the people, like we said yesterday, because the business can't hold on.
Yeah.
So that becomes the database to pull people in. And then what have you done? So see how the problem is being compounded. You've got this database of people who are already on notice period. You're picking them up from there. They already have an offer of, let's say, 30% from the first offer, then 10% again on the second offer, 10% again on that. Finally, 50-60% they've already got from the current company that they are in.
Yeah.
They come back to the same company that they were at because it's easier for them to continue to work in that company.
Correct,
And then
correct.
negotiate for 60% or 70%. Now, in case that company is going to give them that salary, what happens to the equity or the parity with people who currently are there?
Yep.
So therefore, why should I stay for a single digit
Yeah.
income, increase? I will also go into the market. So the problem is only being compounded by these resources which are actually telling me how many people have how many offers.
Yeah.
I don't see that problem going away because that becomes the poaching pool for our recruiters, sadly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I do agree that I think we need to look at making the people who are coming out of engineering colleges more employable. Over the pandemic, we have seen most companies are letting go of people at the, let's say, L5, L6 levels because I don't need the people to start thinking strategy any longer. L7, L8, and let them go. Where do I need people at the L2 and L3 level? The people who are the operations people. Right? Because I don't need the strategy any longer. Strategy is already fixed. I'll let go of the people at, let's say, 70 lakhs, 80 lakhs. I'll get people at the 7 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 13 lakhs in order to make up for that. Because I need people on the bench, like you said, or people who are going to be handy. But where am I going to get that? If they're not employable, I need to go back to the colleges and hire the armies from the colleges and probably use the colleges and the universities to train them for the skills that I need, not what they think they need.
Yeah.
So the talent pool that we're saying, the talent skilling that is there is both from the college institution level and also internally. Like you were talking about the Java guy, I might let to something that is more current and more, let's say, tomorrow's thing. No, he prefers the obsolescence here because he knows he'll get a job outside. So I'm losing people. So it is, I think the only way forward is to be able to ensure that engineering colleges close the gap between what industry needs and helps us to be able to keep the pipeline going and at the same time reduce the costs.
Yeah. So,
I think probably I just wanted to add. Your question is that is there any centralized effort?
centralized approach or
Build? Okay. I'm really not sure that how many of you are passed out from government colleges and schools. Anybody here? Nobody. I'm a municipal school student. I passed out from a municipal school, right? The concentrated effort Government of India spends per annum is about 17,000 crores. Average JSG is here. You can certify Telangana government last year alone spent close to about 1,100 crores in upskilling the rural population of this country. There is a concentrated effort, but anything comes from government, we tend to believe that that's going to be substandard, which is not true. As you mentioned earlier, India is not only about IT. Right? Our services revenue contributes 37% of to your GDP, the services aspect. The manufacturing base, which was there in 2014, I'm not propaganding for any political party, please don't misunderstand me, which was in 2014 and 2023, the manufacturing base from a percentage of 2 is come up to 17%. Now, which institute, which university, which college in this country trained them? No. It's a concentrated effort by the government. The problem is, she rightly pointed out, it's a sector specific, be it a government or private sector. They need to come together, be it educational institution or otherwise, in terms of building the nation for the future ready.
Yep.
In one of my earlier panel discussions, which I, of course, published that in my channel, is that there are some 3 top emerging jobs in this country which is going to come out. The first and foremost is artificial intelligence. He spoke about ChatGPT kind of a stuff. ChatGPT will replace your email attending, your invoice processing, account payable, account receivable, everything will be moved to ChatGPT kind of a Google Bard or ChatGPT, you name them. Right? But subject matter experts will still be in demand. The first and foremost, artificial intelligence is a big ticket item in this country.
Yep, it is.
And second, with the onset of 5G and data affordability and the speed which is multiplying and the number of access devices which gone from office to home, the next job in demand is going to be cybersecurity.
Yep, yep. So I wanted to grab this.
One more line. The third is, with the amount of UPI transaction which you keep on doing, right? There are dime a dozen products in the fintech industry. So actuarial science is going to be in demand. Tell me one institute in this country which teaches you AI, cybersecurity, or actuarial science. We have an institute called Actuarial Science of India and Bombay. Right? These are the 3 most sought after jobs for the future. So these challenges need to be mitigated systematically by jointly working.
Yes.
That's what the point which I really wanted to table.
Thank you. So I'm just grabbing the discussion to the point. So do you think, is there any regulatory system or any system that is prevalent in India for us to overcome the challenges that we are going through as an organization, as a nation? I would ask Ashok this question.
But there are regulatory systems, but I don't think the current problems that IT industry, the problems that we discussed, I don't think we have anything that will address the problems, right?
Okay, sure. I'm just going to make it another quick 5 minutes. Sorry.
Absolutely not, okay? I don't think there's anybody who can answer this problem, and I'm hoping NERS is going to be the way forward and it has to be definitely a top-down. It's got to be, while you said that yes, every individual employee needs to sign on, I do believe that unless the government makes sure that every employer first signs on and every employer says, I'm not going to hire anybody but somebody who has shown the highest degree of integrity by registering on NERS, I don't think the problem is going to go away. But I'm hoping that you are going to solve the problem for us.
That's exactly our approach. So we wanted to connect with the regulatory systems, be it NASSCOM, HIC, CETA. We wanted to...
For example, Indian government, by the year 2025, they are going to make it mandatory for every enterprises to be ESG compliant. Now, ESG is a big buzzword.
Yeah.
No more the CRISIL rating or anything which is coming into existence. Similarly, somebody need to make it mandatory, then organization will
Have to
fall in
find it.
line,
Yeah.
fall in line to do that. That's C.
Yeah. So my immediate next question would be, do you think these systems or maybe the government or the organization should be really focusing on employee or an employer, or maybe the regulatory system, or maybe getting the discipline, getting maybe ethical the practice? So do you think it is just an employee, or it has to be both the ways?
What you are narrating comes under the MOS, which is called Commonly Accessible Database.
Yeah.
Now, commonly accessible database for the workers in this country is a non-existent,
Yes.
unlike advanced economy like Western economy. Or whatever.
Yep. Yep.
For some reason or the other, individual state level used to have something called employment exchanges. I don't know how many of you registered in that. When I got graduated, I did that. I registered.
I did when I was in
I
degree.
never walked back to them again, thankfully. So the commonly accessible database also comes under the privacy law.
Yep.
Now, this privacy law also controls something called security aspect of the IT, which unfortunately, fortunately, in OS is working on the framework. We don't have a common minimum framework available for that.
Okay.
While we have bodies like NASSCOM, while we have bodies like CIA or many other representation for IT and non-IT industry in this country, do we have sufficient database which will fulfill or propel the requirement what we're talking about?
Yes.
To that my question is, the answer is no.
No.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But do we realize that we need one?
Yes.
My answer to that, yes, we need one time now.
Yes. Yes.
We need to have, because the working database will get further classified to the domestic consumption and to the international consumption. Where there is a rich amount of people returning to India will increase in the next 5, 6, 10 years. Right? Therefore, this database will become all the more important. I think there are certain level of work which is happening at a central level.
So what you're saying, it should be both ways. It should be for both the employees, and it should be a common database with the
Absolutely,
privacy. Yeah, thank you. You have an answer.
I think it's not just the employee and the employer. I think whoever is making this database needs to look at it, and the fact that the push has to come from the government. It has to be a future vision. It's got to be something which is more long-term, more big than just the companies that are there currently.
Yep.
It's got to be something that if we as a country need to survive, what needs to be done? And therefore, I don't think it's about a specific company, a specific employer, or a specific employee. It's got to be much larger than that. And talking about one thing about the database, I remember some time back, we had NASSCOM, I think, that had created a database of blacklisted
NSR,
employees,
National Skills
right?
Register.
Yeah.
That used
So
to
we
call
had
National
that,
Skills Register. Yes.
where we had people who were, probably absconding, etc. The list was there. Did that help? And is it something that is there now? I think the question needs to be asked, because I think that became again another pool for recruiters like you to actually pick up people from easily.
So I'll pass on the same question to Ashok. So the question is, do you think the policy or maybe the regulatory system towards the employee or towards the employer? So how this system has to be built, or the regulatory system has to be built?
No, discipline for both the parties, right? Let's say, if I don't hire an employee, if the employee, prospective employee doesn't have a minimum relieving letter, right? Or, this guy is a job hopper, like, he changed 4 jobs in a year, right? So the companies have to follow certain discipline, right? This employee just accept an offer and somehow only work for a week or 2 and then coming back to me. Should I really hire that person or not, right? So we have to have some self-discipline, and that will solve most of the problems. But at the same time, it's like you are finding a groom, right? You do all verification, right? So same here, right? I'm getting married to my company, right? This guy so I definitely need to verify this simple background of like whether this guy went on a university or did work. No, all this is fine, but what is this guy's attitude, right? Character, right? So somewhere now now there is a glass door, right? And now I have 1,000 employees happy, and the general human tendency is, if you are happy, you will, most of the times you will not say it out. But there is a one person really not happy, goes to the glass door, writes everything about the company, right? And then people look at that feedback and decide whether to join this company or not, right? But where is I write about that employee because this guy, joined the company and took all the assets of the organization. I had lot of trouble getting back them, and and no show, all that problems I've gone through with this employee. Where do I document so that other company will look at and will not consider to hire that person, right? Yeah. So it's both. I mean, okay, you are free to write about organization, right? I also need to know about the employee, how they say, whether should I hire or not, right?
Yep. So you're saying it should be the both sides, from the employee and the employer. So my final question, looking at the time. So do you think will a regulatory system or a system something like us is giving a visibility about the employer as well as the employee would be accepted by this IT ecosystem? Maybe I would like to hear from Ravi.
I think the fact that we are here today, kudos to you and your team, who launched the product today. The fact is there is a essential element of a demand which is arising out of this experiences what we as an Indian enterprise. But I'm a very strong believer. The future is India. For any amount of tech or non-tech element, you speak at the global stage, right? The future is India. I think whether you want to say acceptability will be there between employer and employee, the fact remains is that this is the need of the hour. There are few things we can't do away with. The more and more systems like yours, which will bring a connect through transparency, that's the most important thing. And the process of hiring for a non-Indian tech firm or non-tech firm who's outside of India, will have all the more confident in terms of ease of hiring. He knows that he is getting the right amount of skill.
Yes.
He knows that he is getting a right amount of ethically trained skill. And he also knows that he is hiring a skill which is credibility is proven.
Yep.
Therefore, such kind of a platforms is very important. I mean, and the timing is perfect. I know you guys really need to struggle a bit to bring it up to speed.
We are ready for it.
Bring it up to speed, but I'll give myself a couple of years. Yes. But I'm sure by 2025, you will have 1/3 or 2/3 of the enterprises in the country would have been part of your
Thank you so much for the confidence.
And I will ensure that every forum when I get,
yep.
I will definitely
Thank you so
speak
much.
a couple of lines
Thanks.
because it really excites me as a tech firm entrepreneur and come CEO. It excites me. So the need of the hour, it's required. Therefore, acceptability is taken for granted. Don't even think whether employees will accept or employees will accept. Listen, I'm not looking at your CV if you're not part of the system.
Yep.
Right? And I'm not looking at college campus recruitment, which you must have had loads of examples or training. If you are going to make the same student sit across 6 different enterprises and you're going to sit on a pile of 6 different offers, come back and negotiate, hey, my minimum this year is 7.5 lakhs per annum. I'm so sorry, the same guy whom you given 4.5, I will blacklist the enterprise. Sorry, the institute, I won't go back to that.
Yep.
So you need to bring the ecosystem. That's what you
Correct.
understand. Probably I'm giving away some business ideas. It's not the employer, it's not the employee, it's a complete ecosystem which need to prevail upon such practices to bring a straight line credibility factor.
Yep.
Therefore, your ethics are taken for granted, whether it's for Indian enterprise or enterprise which is non-Indian.
Yep.
That's what my firm belief is.
Thank you.
I'll give it to Lekha.
We also spending a lot of money on the BGCs, right? If you have that system in your place, so I don't again need to hire a company to do the background check,
Yes.
right? And also every company does, right? Every company. So every company does from the school, verifies all his credentials, right? So it's actually sometimes they take about 2 to 4 weeks
Yes.
to get the report, and so, that sometimes it's not really acceptable, right? No, if you can, if system can give me that and instantly, right? Because you are already building the history of the person, right?
He's already given you a full stack development work.
Thank you for that. So we are actually including the credibility report for the employee. So it looks exactly like a CIBIL, right? So when we want to take a loan or something from the bank, they will actually check your credit score. So it is going to be the same system and not really required to do a background verification and all.
I accept an offer, I didn't take an offer, -10. Right?
Yes,
Okay,
that's
so
kind of
keep
a credit
on-
report. Yes,
Huh?
exactly. That's kind of a credit report. I think you have to say something.
Yeah, I was saying that, like he said, I think we need to be able to inculcate this throughout the entire ecosystem. It's got to be right from the academic institutions through to the employers and the employees.
Yeah.
And at the beginning, it will need to be forced.
Yes.
So that is where I'm expecting and hoping that associations and the government should force employers and employees to be part of this.
Yeah.
Because until that is done, it's not going
It's
to be
not going to.
successful.
A small data point I wanted to change.
Yeah, sure.
Share with you.
Yeah.
Many of you might have read in the newspaper and the recording media. Two of the leading IT enterprises in this country.
Uh-huh.
Close to 407,000 operators.
Uh-huh.
Till date, they're not on board.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I went around doing I connect all these companies. I wanted to check why they didn't do it. It came as a surprise. Many of the institutions where the average recruitment cost is about 370,000 INR per year,
Oh.
they made the student go through multiple efforts of sitting for multiple different companies. When the HR of these top three tech companies, they start to discuss with each other, they found the same offer letter was actually gone to the same guy. And HR came back and said, no, sorry, we can't accept this. Increase that by 40%.
Yeah,
50%. It was a demand of the vote out. Negotiation happened exactly in the year position.
yeah.
As a result of that, those poor students who spend millions of rupees educating themselves to qualify themselves as an engineer.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for that. So I would like to conclude. So there is a real problem today. There is a system which is required for us, and it has to come from the top-down approach. Connecting with government, connecting with the institutions, and to favor both the employees as well as the employer. So that I would like to conclude. So thank you so much for giving your valuable time here for this panel discussion, Ashok. Thank you so much, Lekha Garu. Thank you so much, and Ravi Garu. Thank you so much.